There comes a moment in life when you stop and realize you're chasing things that won't matter when you close your eyes for the last time. A successful businessman lying in a hospital bed at 52, holding the hand of the daughter he barely knew, whispered, "I built an empire, but I lost what was truly worth it." 2,000 years ago, Jesus told 3 stories, 3 parables that reveal exactly what this man discovered too late. And if you're watching this now, maybe there's still time. Because the truth is this, you might be losing what's essential right at this moment, and you don't even know it. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus woke up at 5 a.m., always. Gym, protein breakfast, 3 meetings before 9 a.m. He had built a tech company from scratch, 2 imported cars, apartment with an ocean view, a watch that cost more than his parents' house. At 38, Marcus was everything he dreamed of being at 20. But there was something strange. Every night before sleeping, he felt an emptiness, a hole in his chest that no achievement could fill. He didn't tell anyone about this. After all, how do you complain about life when you have everything everyone desires? On a Friday, after closing a multi-million-dollar deal, Marcus came home at 11 p.m. The apartment was silent, empty. He opened the fridge full of gourmet food and wasn't hungry. He turned on the 85-inch TV and there was nothing he really wanted to watch. He sat on the Italian leather sofa, alone, and for the first time in years, Marcus cried. He didn't know why. He just knew that something was deeply wrong. That early morning, he grabbed his phone and typed into Google, "Why do I feel empty when I have everything?" And it was in this desperate search that Marcus found something that would change everything. An old video of a pastor talking about Jesus' parables, specifically about a rich man who made the biggest mistake of his life. Marcus clicked play and heard this story. There was a rich man whose land produced abundantly. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "I know what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with anyone who stores up things for themselves but is not rich toward God." Marcus paused the video. Those words, it was as if Jesus had entered his apartment and read his thoughts out loud. The man in the parable had exactly what Marcus had. Success, money, ambitious plans, but Jesus called him a fool. Not because he was rich, but because he believed a deadly lie, the lie that life is all about what you accumulate. Marcus looked around. He mentally counted how much each item in that apartment cost. Over $2 million in assets, and suddenly a question cut through his mind like a blade. If I die tonight, what really remains? He thought about the company employees. Did he know all their names? Did he know about their struggles, or were they just pieces in his game of achievements? He thought about his mother, who called every Sunday and he always said he was too busy to visit. He thought about the ex-girlfriend who broke up with him 2 years ago saying, "Marcus, you have time for everything except for us." He thought about God. When was the last time he really stopped and gave thanks, or talked, or simply stayed silent and acknowledged that there's something greater than him? The parable of the rich fool reveals a brutal truth. You can spend your entire life building bigger barns and completely lose the meaning of why you're alive. Because the problem wasn't that the man was rich. The problem was that he was rich only for himself. He lived as if he were eternal, as if life were a game where whoever accumulates the most wins. But Jesus says, "This night your soul will be required of you." It's not a warning, it's a reality. One day, all of us will lie down for the last time. And in that moment, nothing you've accumulated goes with you. Nothing. What remains is the love you gave, the lives you touched, the kindness you spread, the faith you cultivated. Marcus turned off his phone and stayed in the dark. For the first time in years, he realized he was running a marathon in the wrong direction. Maybe you're recognizing yourself in this story. Maybe you've also felt this emptiness, this strange sensation that you're conquering everything and losing what's essential. It's not your fault. The whole world taught you that success is having more, earning more, being more, appearing more. But Jesus, 2,000 years ago, was already warning, this is a trap, and he didn't stop at that parable. He told another one, a story about a father, two sons, and a decision that shatters families to this day. Because sometimes what you're losing isn't money, it's relationships, it's time, it's presence, and when you realize it, it's too late. Marcus couldn't sleep that night. At 4 a.m., he was still on the couch thinking, and then he remembered another parable, one his grandmother used to tell when he was a child, the story of the Prodigal Son. You know this story, but let me tell it to you in a way you may have never heard. There was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, I want my share of the inheritance." So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant region. And there he squandered his wealth, living recklessly. Think about what this son did. He looked at his father, the man who raised him, who gave him everything, and basically said, "I wish you were dead, because I only want your money." And the father gave it. He didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't punish. He simply divided the inheritance and let his son go, because true love doesn't imprison. True love lets you choose, even when the choice breaks the heart. The son left, spent everything, parties, women, luxuries. He lived as if there were no tomorrow. And when the money ran out, the friends disappeared, the women vanished, and he found himself alone with nothing, feeding pigs. The Bible says he came to his senses. You know what that means? It means he woke up. He realized he was living a lie, that he had traded his father's unconditional love for temporary and empty pleasures, and he decided to return. Not because he deserved it, but because he remembered who his father was. So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him and kissed him. Let that sink into you. The father was waiting. Every day he looked at the road, waiting for his son to return. And when he saw his son from afar, dirty, smelling of pigs, defeated, he didn't wait. He ran. In Jewish culture, elderly men didn't run. It was considered shameful. But the father didn't care about the shame. He just wanted his son back. He embraced him, kissed him, and ordered, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." Marcus stopped reading because he realized something he had never realized before. This isn't just the story of the prodigal son, it's the story of all of us. All of us in some way took God's blessings, life, health, talents, opportunities, and ran away thinking we could live without him, thinking we're self-sufficient, thinking we don't need anyone. And then life breaks us. Crises come, money runs out, health fails, relationships crumble, and we come to our senses. We realize we were running in the wrong direction. The parable of the prodigal son reveals something devastating and at the same time liberating. It doesn't matter how far you've gone. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how much time you've wasted. God is waiting for you to return. And when he sees you from afar, he runs. He doesn't wait for you to clean yourself up first. He doesn't demand that you deserve it. He simply runs, embraces, and restores. Marcus began to cry again, because he realized he was living like the prodigal son. He had taken everything God gave him, intelligence, opportunities, success, and lived as if he didn't need God, as if he were the owner of his own life. But that early morning, Marcus came to his senses and decided to return. You know what the saddest part of this parable is? It's not the son who left, it's the son who stayed. Because when the father threw a party for the son who returned, the older brother became furious. The older brother was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. He replied, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother became angry and refused to go in. The older son did everything right, worked hard, never disobeyed, but he lived with a heart full of pride and bitterness. He was physically close to the father, but emotionally distant. And this is the second trap. You can be doing everything right, going to church, praying, being a good person, but with a cold heart, judging others, thinking you deserve more than others. Marcus realized he was both sons at the same time. He was the prodigal who wasted God's gifts living for himself, and he was the older son who thought he deserved blessings for being better than others. The parable reveals God doesn't want your performance. He wants your heart. But there was one last parable that Marcus needed to hear, the most uncomfortable of all, because it answers the question, okay, I've returned to God. Now what? Jesus told this story when someone asked, "Who is my neighbor?" A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. Do you understand the shock of this story? The priest and the Levite were the holy people, the religious ones, and they walked right past. But the Samaritan, someone the Jews despised, considered inferior, was the one who stopped, who cared, who acted. Jesus was destroying the religious hypocrisy of the time and continues destroying it today. Because the question isn't, who is my neighbor? The question is, who am I being a neighbor to? Marcus understood it's no use having money, success, biblical knowledge, going to church if you pass by the wounded in life without caring, if you see your co-worker breaking inside and don't reach out your hand, if you know someone is struggling and you pretend not to see, if you have the means to help and choose to keep everything for yourself. The parable of the Good Samaritan reveals the essential in life isn't what you conquer, it's what you do for others. It's love in action. It's the compassion that interrupts your plans to help someone who has fallen. It's the sacrifice that costs something real, time, money, comfort, to make a difference in someone's life. 3 days after that early morning, Marcus did something no one expected. He gathered the company employees and announced he was going to change everything. He wasn't going to close the company, but he was going to transform it into something bigger. He created a fund to help employees in difficulties. He implemented a work-life balance policy. He started to really ask, how are you? And for the first time in years, Marcus visited his mother. She cried when she saw him at the door, and he cried asking for forgiveness. Marcus didn't become perfect, but he became different. Because he understood what Jesus was trying to teach 2,000 years ago, life isn't about what you accumulate. It's about who you become. It's about who you love. It's about returning to God. And it's about reaching out your hand to those who have fallen. The rich fool lost everything because he lived only for himself. The prodigal son found everything when he came home. The good Samaritan became eternal because he loved. And you? Are you chasing what's essential, or are you losing what really matters? Because one day, and that day may be closer than you imagine, you will lie down for the last time. And in that moment, only three things will matter: how you loved, how you lived, and if you came back home. If this message touched you, if you realized you're living like the rich fool, or like the prodigal son far from home, or passing by the wounded without stopping, there's still time. God is waiting for you. Not tomorrow, now. Subscribe to this channel, because I will continue bringing truths that the world doesn't want you to discover. Leave a comment saying, "I choose what's essential," and share this video with someone who needs to hear this, because maybe you are the Samaritan God sent to rescue someone today.